So we continue with our weekend reading of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, and we're up to chapter number 15, which is the Lord's Adi-lila, and we're up to text number 11 today, and we'll continue on until text number 15. 14. No, text number 14 we'll continue on to. That's got a purport. So we've got text number 11 up on the board here. Oh, I'll be okay, thanks. Tabe Mishra Vishvarupa Dekhiya Yovana Kanya Kahi Vivaha Dite Karlina Mana Tabe Mishra Vishvarupera Dekhiya Yovana Kanya Chahi Vivaha Dite Karlina Mana. Word for word translation. Tabe, thereafter. Mishra, Jagannath Mishra. Vishvarupera, of Vishvarupa, his elder son. Dekhiya, seeing. Yovana, youthfulness. Kanya Chahi, wanting to find a girl. Vivaha, marriage. Dite, to give. Karalena, maid. Mana, his mind. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Thereafter, seeing Vishvarupa, a grown-up youth, Jagannath Mishra wanted to find a girl and arrange a marriage ceremony for him. Text number 12. Vishvarupa Shuni Gara Chadi Palalaila Sanyasa Kariya Tirta Karibara Gela. Hearing of this, Vishvarupa immediately left home and went away to accept sannyas and travel from one place of pilgrimage to another. Guess he didn't have the same vision as his father, huh? Text number 13. Shuni Sachi Mishra Duki Hoila Mana Tabi Prabhu Mata Pitara Koila Ashvasana. When Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra heard of the departure of their elder son, Vishvarupa, they were very unhappy. But Lord Caitanya tried to console them. Text number 14. Baila Haila Vishvarupa Sanyasa Karila Pitra Kula Matra Kula Du Udharila. My dear mother and father, the Lord said, it is very good that Vishvarupa has accepted this sannyas order, for thus he has delivered both his father's family and his mother's family. Purport. It is sometimes said that Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu did not approve of the acceptance of the sannyas order in this Kali Yuga, because in the Shastra it is said, Ashvamedam Gavalambam Sannyasam Pala Paitrikam Devarena Suto Pitam Kalo Pancha Vivarjayat. In this Kali Yuga, the performance of the Ashvamedha Yagya or Gomedha Yagya, sacrifices in which a horse or cow is offered, should be avoided, as should the acceptance of sannyas, the renounced order of life. It's from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Krishna Janma Kand. Nevertheless, we see that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself accepted sannyas and approved of the sannyas of his elder brother Vishvarupa. It is clearly said here, Baila Haila, Vishvarupa Sannyasa Karila Pitra Kula Matar Kula Dui Udharila. Therefore, should it be thought that Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu made statements that are contradictory? No, actually he did not. It is recommended that one accept sannyas to dedicate his life for the service of the Lord, and everyone must take that kind of sannyas. For by accepting such sannyas, one renders the best service to both his paternal and maternal families. But one should not accept the sannyas order of the Mayavad school, which has practically no meaning. We find many Mayavadi sannyasis simply loitering in the street, thinking themselves Brahman or Narayan, and spending all day and night begging so they can fill their hungry bellies. Mayavadi sannyasis have become so degraded that there is a section of them who eat everything, just like hogs and dogs. It is such degraded sannyas that is prohibited in this age. Actually, Srila Shankaracharya's principles for the acceptance of sannyas were very strict, but later the so-called Mayavadi sannyasis became degraded because of their false philosophy, which propounds that by accepting sannyas one becomes Narayan. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu rejected that kind of sannyas, but the acceptance of sannyas is one of the items of the Varnashram Dhan. How then can it be rejected? Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Jnana Chamanandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chokshu Umlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this section here we find when Lord Chaitanya was still a youth, his elder brother Vishvarup, he took sannyas. Because as we've discussed in Vedic culture, it's usually the Varnashram system. Who's not familiar with what Varnashram is? Everybody know what it is? You all know? Yeah. I don't need to go into it in too much detail then. So in the classic Varnashram system, the age is divided up into blocks of 25 years. So the first 25 years are spent as brahmachari in the school of the spiritual master, the Guru, the Gurukula. Some of our Gurukul students are here this morning. Hare Krishna, thank you for coming. So 25 years are spent as a student in the Gurukul under the instruction and guidance of the Guru, the spiritual master. The next 25 years are spent as a Grihasta, married, and then the next 25 years from the age of about 50, 55, a person enters into the Vanapras stage of life where they're renouncing or slowly detaching themselves from family life and family entanglements. They still spend time with a wife and usually go to holy places of pilgrimage and spend time there and bathe in the holy waters and meet the holy sadhus and hear from them. And then ideally in the last stage of life from about 70 years onwards, one accepts the order of sannyas or total renunciation, so one can fully dedicate oneself to spiritual practices and elevating themselves to the time, readying themselves for the time of death. Because as we know, Krishna instructs in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever state of consciousness you leave your body in, which you've cultivated throughout your life, then you will attain that state without fail. So Gaudiya Vaishnavas are practicing their meditations on Vrindavan Dham and Krishna's Leelas. It's a special mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that he's given that special rasa, that conjugal rasa, to reawaken that dormant love that we have for Krishna and that conjugal mood. So devotees, that's our aim, that is our goal, and that's what our sadhana is bringing us to. So at the time that we leave our body, we're meditating very strongly on Vrindavan Dham and Radha and Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And we're very fortunate that we have so much easy access now to the holy Dham. Like in Lord Chaitanya's time, to go from Mayapur, Navadvip or Jagannath Puri to get to Vrindavan, it was all done on foot. So it would take weeks and months to get there on foot. Thousands of kilometres they had to walk. Now we can just get on a plane and fly there and go to the holy Dham, and we can eat at what's the restaurant there in the MVT restaurant, right? We can have the ice cream there. There probably wasn't ice cream in Lord Chaitanya's time, but so the austerity is much easier now. We can go to Mayapur, and Prabhupada, because of his mercy, created such a wonderful facility in Mayapur. There's very comfortable accommodation there now, and so many wonderful kirtans and so much prasadam there. Like everywhere you go in Mayapur, there's prasadam being distributed everywhere. We've got little prasadam booths with all sorts of prasadam and cakes and cookies, and so much mercy is there. and so many wonderful pastime places in both Vrindavan Dham and in Mayapur Dham that we can easily access, like the places the acharyas would reside in. We have Bhakti Vinod Thakur's house that we can visit just across the Jalangi in Navadweep, and so many bhajan kutirs there of Advaita Acharya, and so many of Lord Chaitanya's associates that we can go to. Sriva Sangam, the yoga pit, of course, just down the road from the ISKCON Mayapur, the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with a beautiful neem tree growing there, and some beautiful deities that were installed by Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. So many wonderful places that we can access, and so many wonderful devotees that we can have the association with and hear the wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And same when we go to Vrindavan, we can associate with devotees like Dinabandhu Prabhu, and he can take us on parakram to all the wonderful places in Vrindavan Dham. So there's a lot of nectar there. So we have to become professional nectar hunters and get that nectar. So Vishwarup, and today he got wind that his parents are wanting him to marry. And it's explained that from the time that he was born, he had no interest in material life at all. He was completely detached from material life. He was only interested in doing kirtan and hearing Bhagavad Gita. And he'd associate quite intimately with Advaita Acharya. So he, when he heard this news that his parents were wanting him to marry, immediately he left home and he took sannyas. So just for those who aren't so familiar with Varnashram, it's a little bit about the Varnashram system. Krishna talks about this in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that according to the three material modes of nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I'm the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So this Varnashram system is actually divine. So we're interested in Daivi Varnashram, which means divine Varnashrama, where Krishna is in the centre of all the ashrams. So whatever Varna you are, whether you're a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or a Sudra, according to your propensity, or whatever ashram you're in, whether it's sannyas or grihastha or vanaprast or brahmachari, then the centre is Krishna. That's Daivi Varnashram. And Prabhupada actually said that 50% of his work wasn't complete because he wanted this Varnashram system established. Because the Varnashram social system is a supportive structure, societal structure for society to be gradually elevated to transcendence, to Krishna consciousness. So even though we don't have a Varnashram system anymore, in Lord Chaitanya's time it was still there to a degree. The Hindu caste system was there, but there was that understanding that there were divisions of society. So in the West, this isn't here anymore. We have no Varnashram system, but those propensities are still there. It does say Kalu Sudra Sambhava, that in Kali Yuga everyone is born a Shudra, or less. But we can see that those natures and those propensities are there. Like some have an inclination towards study and academia. So that's Brahminical, studying and educating and teaching, that's a Brahminical quality. And then you have those who are attracted into administrative, managerial, or some are attracted to being in the military. They said television, they have that show SAS Australia with Ant Middleton, which is about they're special forces operators who have been trained in the English military, and they're taking people and giving them an induction into what the training course is like. But you can see that they have a real Kshatriya spirit to them, that real martial spirit, that they enjoy fighting and discipline and very, very focused. And those are the qualities of a Kshatriya. So they're still there. Those qualities are still there. And that's why it's a big failure on the government part when they had like the Vietnam War, when they conscripted people, because if it's not your nature to be in the military and then you're being conscripted to fight and go and kill people, it totally goes against your nature. And you can see so many people come back now with what they call post-traumatic stress disorder, that they're so traumatised by having to go into a war zone, and they're traumatised by it because it's not their nature to do that. So it's very artificial to force people to be in a varna that it's not part of their nature. And we can see that actually in the Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna was going against his nature. Like he was telling Krishna, I don't want to fight. I'm just going to go to the forest and become a renunciate. I don't want to fight. But Krishna said that even if you don't fight and you go to the forest, that nature is still there within you. It's your nature to be a kshatriya. It's your nature to be a warrior. You can't, it's artificial to go against that nature. So Krishna was instructing Arjuna to use his nature, his propensity in his service. So that's the essence of Varnashram, is using whatever your psychophysical nature is in Krishna's service. So that's the Varnashram social system. So as I was saying, that even though we don't have it anymore, those propensities are still there within people. Like, as I was saying, we're Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, you have Vaishyas, people that like working on the land and farming. I have a friend of mine who runs the Hare Krishna Centre down in Victoria at New Nandagram, or Hare Krishna Valley, and his surname is Farmer, Craig Farmer, and that's what he's actually a farmer. That's what he enjoys doing, working with the bullocks and working the land. So he has that nature. And then Sudra, who is the servants of the other varnas and ashrams. So it's not that one ashram is necessarily better than another. Like these ashrams in the classical Varnashram system were meant to support and be interdependent, that each relied on each other. So the Brahmanas were like the head of society, the brain, and they would give guidance to the Kshatriyas. So the Kshatriyas were like the administrative political class. So they would take guidance from the Brahmanas about how to apply Dharma. And we can see, like Maharaj Yudhisthira was always taking the association, getting instruction from the Brahmanas, because he was a king and it was his nature to have a kingdom to rule over. But he would take guidance from the Brahmanas how to apply Dharma. So when the Kshatriyas are applying Dharma, then things become very, very peaceful, because now we don't have Kshatriyas running the countries. We have politicians who are, as Prabhu would say, they're Sudras or less, that they're not taking any guidance from any Brahmins at all. And so we have all this chaos all around the world at the moment, because there are Sudras who are running the political system and extorting taxation out of people and misusing that money to fight wars or for their own self-indulgence. As we know, there's so much corruption within the political class, people taking taxation from people and using it, embezzling it for themselves and misusing it. So many examples of that all around the world, because they're not qualified to be in that role. They need to be trained and qualified, because Varnashram is all about developing character. It's about developing good qualities. Truthfulness, honesty, controlling your senses, compassion, mercy, these sort of qualities. So someone is judged in Vedic culture by how they're cultivating their character, not by how expert they are in getting money and resources and manipulating things or exploiting things. It's about developing character, good qualities. So this is what the Varnashram system was all about. And above and beyond that, it was there to support people developing their Krishna consciousness, developing their love of Godhead. So this is the need now in the world, is that there is a need for this Varnashram system, that everyone understands the system is failing in so many ways, and people are miserable and unhappy, and there's so much disturbance all around the world. So there is a great need for an establishment of this Varnashram culture. And that begins with establishing the head of society. So Prabhupada established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, as to put a brain back on society again. So Prabhupada said that devotees need to learn these books, and example is better than precept. Show by their own example, live a Brahminical lifestyle, as Prabhupada said, know the books like the lawyers know the law books. So there can be a brain established again to give guidance to society. So that is the great need in the world at the moment. So that is the hope of the Hare Krishna movement, is that we can establish a Brahminical class to give guidance and direction to society, and ultimately the political class should be taking guidance from the Brahminical class, and therefore dharmic principles are being applied, so things become much more peaceful that way. But of course now in Kali Yuga people have no awareness of what karma is or what sinful activity is. There's no knowledge of that. So as long as these misunderstandings or this ignorance is there, then these problems around the world will continue, whether it's environmental or social or whatever it may be. These problems will continue. So there is a need for this Varnashram system. So, I mean, if you want to get more into understanding it, if you read the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna elaborates on these Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras, the different qualities of each one. It's a bit more outside of the scope of what we're talking about today, but if you read the 18th chapter, then it goes a bit more into understanding it. And by chanting Hare Krishna and practicing Krishna consciousness, then naturally your natural Varna will awaken within you. You'll find that you're attracted to certain activities. Like you may find you really enjoy studying and teaching, or you may find that you have a role, you like managing things, or you may find you like farming. So this natural, water sinks to its own level, that this natural propensity is there within you. It's just a matter of uncovering it again. And obviously the modern day education system is a bit like a sort of like a hopper. It just puts everyone into it and sort of spits you out their end so you can become a taxpayer. Whereas it's not about developing qualities or character or finding what your purpose and meaning is or calling is in life. So, actually, you notice when people are engaged in their proper Varna, it's because they're peaceful. You find someone actually likes doing what they're doing. Like some people are just very happy and peaceful working the land and farming and growing vegetables, looking after cows. And they're peaceful doing it because that's what their Varna is. Others are happy educating and teaching and learning and studying because that's their Varna to be a Brahmana. So it's there within all of us. And so you become peaceful just by, materially speaking, by knowing what your natural propensity is, your God-given talent, your God-given ability. So that's the Varnashram social system. So we can move on. Let's go. So Vishvarup takes sannyas. This is sort of what we're getting into today. Vishvarup is the older brother of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. It's explained that he's also an incarnation of Lord Balaram as well. So he ended up leaving the family and taking sannyas, became a renunciate at a very young age. And understandably, Jagannath Mishra, his father, and Sachimata were very, very disturbed. They had great hopes that our eldest son will come of age and marry and get a family and have children, because that is the wealth of Vedic culture and society, is having children, having families, and so forth. That is the real wealth of Grihastha life, is raising families and having children, making them devotees of Krishna, of course. So, as I was explaining, that Vishvarup was always attracted to devotional service from a very young age. He was a close associate of Advaita Acharya and had lost interest in material life altogether. So as soon as he got wind that they were going to try and marry him off, he left home and became a renunciate. So there's actually a nice elaboration in the Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Dastakor, because the Caitanya Bhagavat was written prior to the Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita, which we're reading from today. And the devotees asked Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to write the Chaitanya Caritamrita to elaborate on some of the pastimes that weren't discussed in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, there is some elaborations there about Vishvarup taking sannyas. So we can read a little bit from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. This is the translation by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. So there are some purports. We can read a bit of the purports as well. So this is the Chaitanya Bhagavat, the Adi Kand, and it's we're up to chapter 7, text number 62 through to 100 we'll read. The Lord of Vaikuntha attracted the hearts of all the devotees as he enjoyed his pastimes in Navadvip. After thus enchanting everyone's heart, Lord Vishvambha, who is Lord Chaitanya, returned home with his elder brother Vishvarup. Sri Advaita Prabhu considered to himself, this boy is not an ordinary person. Then Advaita said to the Vaishnavas, I don't know what sort of boy he is. All the devotees then began to praise the beauty and charm of that wonderful child. Vishvarup returned home simply out of formality. Then as soon as possible he returned to Advaita's house. The desire for material enjoyment never appeared in the mind of Vishvarup. Imagine that, the desire for material enjoyment wasn't even in his mind. He constantly remained in the ecstasy of chanting Krishna's names. Even when he was at home, he never engaged in household activities. Rather, he would always stay in the temple room. There's a short commentary here by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The word Vishnu Griha is explained as follows. Formerly, in every Brahmana's house, there was a separate room for keeping the deity form of Narayan, Shalagram. This deity room is known as Vishnu Griha. While at home, Sri Vishvarup would generally pass his time worshipping or meditating in the deity room. So it's interesting, I just got back from Bali a few weeks ago, and in Bali, a lot of the houses there are actually temples. Like I was mainly in Ubud, so some of you may have been there, like Rupa was just there recently, and a lot of the houses are actually temples in Ubud. Like every house has a beautiful ornate sort of gateway, and there's like different murtis. They're more into Ganesh and Shiva, but that culture is still there, that these every section of the house is actually a temple. So we find that also within Lord Chaitanya's time. So Vishnu Graha, that every Brahmana's house has a separate room for keeping a deity form of Narayan or Shalagram. When his mother and father spoke of arranging his marriage, Vishvarup felt great mental pain. Vishvarup thought to himself, I will leave home and go to the forest. The heart of the Lord is known only to the Lord. Thus, after a few days, Vishvarup left to take sannyas. He then became known throughout the world as Sri Shankaranya. That's his sannyas name, is Sri Shankaranya. As he traversed the path of devotional service to Lord Krishna, he became celebrated as the topmost Vaishnava. So there's a short commentary by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Vishvarup accepted sannyas in the Sri Shankara Sampradaya and became famous by the name Sri Shankaranya. At that time, there were 10 names for sannyasis being used in the Shankara Sampradaya. The name Aranya is one of those 10 names. These 10 names for sannyasis were previously used in the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. After these Vishnu Swami sannyasis had a quarrel with the Ekadandi sannyasis from the Shiva Swami Sampradaya, they entered into the Shankara Sampradaya. In the original Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, however, there were 108 names used for sannyasis. By the influence of Shiva Swami Sampradaya, the Vedic sannyasi names were reduced to 10 after the time of Shankaracharya. It's interesting that Prabhupada also notes in here as well about the sannyas order within the Sri Shankaracharya lineage was very, very strict. But after time, the Mayavadi sannyasis obviously lost their austerity and strictness, and then Prabhupada says that they became concerned more with filling their hungry bellies. So they missed the point of being a sannyas and just took to sense gratification, artificial renunciation. And the Mayavad sannyasis, even worse, were saying that now they'd take a sannyas, that they had become Narayan, that they'd become God. That's the abomination of Mayavad philosophy, is that they think they've become Krishna, which is, according to the Vaishnavas, is horrendous, to think that one becomes God. So we see that still in India today, that ideology is still there. Was it Mahatma Gandhi called it Dadrija Narayan, the poor Narayans? The Narayan has become poor, God has become poor. So yeah, these ideological discrepancies are still there. So it's interesting, we're reading a bit about today in this Shankar Sampradaya accepting sannyas. So after travelling through the country, Sri Shankaranya arrived in Pandarapura in the district of Sholapur near Mumbai and took samadhi on the bank of Bhima River. It is said that Sri Shankaranya, the king of sannyasis, entered the deity of Sri Vitalanath or Sri Vithoba. While travelling to South India many years later in 1511, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu went to Pandarapura and heard from Sri Rangapura about Sri Vishwarupa's disappearance. At that time, Pandarapura was a famous place of pilgrimage and populated by many sadhus and Vaishnavas. Yeah, so presumably that's probably still there, this particular deity form of Lord Krishna, Vitalanath or Sri Vithoba. Has anyone been there before? Rupa, you been there? So we'll move on to the next verse. Vishwarupa's departure from home left Sachi and Jagannath feeling grief-stricken. Sri Gauranga cried loudly along with his family members and eventually fell unconscious out of separation from his brother. I am unable to describe their feelings of separation by which Jagannath Mishra's entire house became inundated with crying. The word Jagannath Puri refers to the house of Jagannath Mishra, or the present-day yoga pit in Sri Mayapur. Understanding that Vishwarupa has taken sannyas, Advaita and the other devotees all began weeping. Everyone in Nadia who heard about the incident, whether ordinary or exalted, whether an ordinary or exalted devotee, all felt very unhappy. So you can imagine also when Lord Caitanya took sannyas, this is his brother Vishwarupa, so imagine the lamentation of the Vaishnavas when Lord Caitanya took sannyas and he shaved off all his beautiful hair and adorned the saffron cloth of a sannyasi. A lot of the devotees would have been heart-stricken. Jagannath Mishra and Sachidevi were both heartbroken and continually cried out, "Vishwarupa, Vishwarupa!" Sri Mishra was overwhelmed with lamentation for his son, so his friends and relatives all tried to pacify him. Because when one takes sannyas, it's like they're committing social death. It's like a type of death where you're totally detaching yourself from society, family, friendship and love. You're giving up all those attachments and solely focusing on spiritual practice. So it's like considered a type of death almost, because you're renouncing all of your material attachments. So the commentary here by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Jagannath Mishra's display of affliction due to lamentation for his son, is like that of an ordinary father for his son, was actually to deceive persons who are bewildered by material objects like their sons. The glorification of Sri Vishwarupa's acceptance of sannyas and engagement in worship in Krishna increased the prestige of the Daivivan Ashram sannyasis who destroy the lamentation born of material enjoyment. So the next verse. Dear Mishra, please control yourself. Do not feel sad, for that great personality has delivered all of us. This is Lord Caitanya speaking. When someone takes sannyas, millions of family members are promoted to Vaikuntha. Your son has perfected his education by this act. Therefore, it is befitting for you to feel even more happy than before. Saying this, they all held the hands and feet of Jagannath Mishra. Your son Vishvambara is the ornament of your dynasty. He will eradicate all your suffering. If one has such a son as him, what is the need for millions of sons? In this way, all of Jagannath Mishra's friends tried to pacify him, but his distress remained unmitigated. If somehow or other he regained his composure, as soon as he remembered Vishwarupa's qualities, he again lost his patience. Jagannath Mishra said, I have no reason to believe that the son will remain at home. Krishna gave me a son and then took him away. Whatever Krishna desires, this is what will happen. Independent of you, the living entities have no power whatsoever. Therefore, O Krishna, I am surrendering my body and senses unto you. In this way, the most sober Jagannath Mishra gradually controlled his mind through the process of Gyan. Commentary by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Jagannath Mishra's modified form of Vatsalya Ras that was born from physical consideration was destroyed when Vishwarupa took sannyas, and he realised that the eternal absolute truth, Lord Vishnu, was his son. Such realisation frees one from the shackles of mundane parenthood and is real sannyas. That is the story of how Vishwarupa, who is non different from Nityananda Sarup, left home. Whoever hears this pastime of Vishwarupa's acceptance of sannyas attains devotional service to Lord Krishna and freedom from the bondage of fruitive work. Commentary by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Sri Vishwarupa Prabhu is Shankarshan and is therefore non-different from Sri Nityananda Sarup. The Prakasha expansion of Mula Sankarshan, Sri Baladev Nityananda Prabhu and Mahavaikuntha has appeared as Vishwarupa and Adi-lila. So he is Balaram. If one hears the pastimes of Vishwarupa's accepting sannyas, he will attain freedom from the bondage of fruitive activities. Sri Vishwarupa has three expansions. The first Purusha incarnation, Karanadakshay Vishnu, the second Purusha incarnation, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, and the third Purusha incarnation, Shuddhadakshay Vishnu. If a living entity understands these three Vishnu forms in truth, he can attain freedom from the material concept of life. Next verse. As the devotees heard about Vishwarup accepting sannyas, they simultaneously felt happiness and lamentation. They said, whatever little opportunity we had for discussing the topics of Krishna together, Krishna has taken away. Let us also leave home and go to the forest. Then we will not see the faces of these sinful people. How long must we tolerate the burning words of these atheists? They are all continuously engaged in materialistic activities. We do not hear the name of Krishna from anyone's mouth. The entire world is absorbed in illusory happiness. Even if they are instructed, they will not take to devotional life. On the contrary, they taunt us. A short commentary by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. The materialists were maddened with temporary material happiness. They could not understand the supreme absolute truth, and as a result they became scornful and laughed. But actually they were unable to understand the service of Adhoksaja Krishna by the strength of their sensual knowledge. Rather than understanding that devotional service to Lord Krishna is the only necessity, such materialists became attached to this world and the fruits of their work. And that's the end of that section and commentary by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur of the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So as we were reading that he gave up his body, Vishwarup left his body or gave up seemingly gave up his body. Of course he is an eternal associate, so there is no such thing as leaving his body. So he lived in Pandharpura, which is a holy place in Maharashtra, and as Srila Prabhupada states in the Gaura Chandrodaya, that after his departure, Vishwarup remained mixed with Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So he became merged into the form of Nityananda. So this is how the realm of transcendence works. It's a different dimension altogether to the material realm. And interestingly enough, that Srila Prabhupada also took sannyas on the same day that Vishwarup took sannyas. 450 years later, Srila Prabhupada also accepted sannyas on the same day, because there is actually a festival observing the day that Vishwarup accepted the sannyas order. So Srila Prabhupada also, on that festival day, accepted the order of sannyas. So the year that Srila Prabhupada took sannyas was 1950, and his sannyas, sitting in the picture here, you can see is Prabhupada standing over to the right, and in the middle sitting down is Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Maharaj, and he was the sannyasi who issued or gave the sannyas order to Srila Prabhupada. And also there's Muni Maharaj to the left-hand side, also accepted sannyas on the same day as Srila Prabhupada. So this is in 1950. So there's a little description here, that in 1950 Srila Prabhupada retired from family life as a Vanaprast. He travelled to Jhansi and tried to start his Guru Maharaj's mission there. He was on the verge of acquiring an ideal property to use as a centre, but in the end there was some politics with the governor's wife, and the deal fell through. So he left Jhansi and came to Mathura, a holy place associated with Lord Krishna's pastimes. And he went to the Keshavaji Gaudiya Mutt, where he served in cooperation with one of his godbrothers, His Holiness Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati set up the Gaudiya Mutt. That was the preaching mission that he established within India. So they still have Gaudiya Mutt centres around different parts of India. So this is where Srila Prabhupada was residing, in the Keshavaji Gaudiya Mutt with Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Maharaj. So it's explained that even in his household life, Srila Prabhupada had dreams in which his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, was calling him to leave his family and follow him. Srila Prabhupada would wake up and feel horrified, And he thought, how can I take sannyas? That was Prabhupada's thinking, that his guru, spiritual master, was coming to him and saying, oh, you must accept sannyas. And Prabhupada was thinking, oh, this is horrible. How can I do such a thing? And he continued to have these dreams. And in Mathura, Bhakti Brigade Keshava Maharaj advised him to really preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and fulfill the order of Bhakti Santa Sarasvati. You must take sannyas. So actually, I'm incorrect, that he took sannyas on September the 17th, 1959. So that's when that picture is taken, is September the 17th, 1959. So it was 1950 that he left his household life, and then 1959 he accepted the sannyas order. So September 17th, 1959, on Vishvarup Mahotsava, the same date that Vishvarup, the elder brother of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, took sannyas, Srila Prabhupada accepted the renounced order of life at the Keshavaji Gaudiya Math in Mathura. At the end of the ceremony, Keshava Maharaj asked him to speak. Although the common language was Hindi, Srila Prabhupada thought of his mission and the order of his Guru Maharaj, and he spoke in English. Now he was Bhakti Vedanta Swami and completely ready to discharge the order of his spiritual master. So when he accepted sannyas, he actually spoke in English instead of Hindi, because he understood when he first met his guru in 1922 on the rooftop in Calcutta, Bhakti Siddhanta Sarada instructed him that you are an educated man, so you should preach this message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the English-speaking countries. So after taking sannyas, he was fulfilling that order, and he spoke in English at his acceptance of sannyas. So we've got a few more minutes. There are some nice quotes that I found that Srila Prabhupada talked about on his taking sannyas. So these are some quotes that he gave in lectures and morning walks and so forth. We can read a couple because there's some nice meditations here. So Prabhupada speaking, when I was a householder, several times there was an indication given by my Guru Maharaj that I should give up my family life and become a sannyasi and preach this Krishna consciousness movement. In several ways there were hints from my spiritual master, but still I was not willing. I was thinking, if I go away, then my family, my sons, my daughters, they will suffer. But actually I have left my family connection in 1950. Actually 1954, but introductory in 1950. For the last 20 years, but they are living, I am living, they're not dying in my absence, and I'm not suffering without being in my family. On the other hand, by Krishna's grace, I've gotten better family members. I've got nice children in a foreign country. They're taking so much care of me, I could not expect such care from my own children. So this is God's grace. We should depend on Krishna. If Krishna is kind, wherever we go, everyone will be pleased, everyone will be kind. And if Krishna is unpleased, even in your family life, you will not be comfortable. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, at a certain age, it is indicated that one should retire from family life. That's Srila Prabhupada speaking at John Lennon's estate, Tittenhurst in London, September the 12th, 1969. This is the next quote. This is from a lecture he gave in Mumbai, December the 30th, 1972. The Krishna consciousness movement is not that we are asking everyone to become a sannyasi like me and give up everything. No, that is not our program. You act as a brahmana, as a kshatriya or a vaishya or a shudra. It doesn't matter. But you try to satisfy Krishna. That is the program. There's another lecture talk that Prabhupada, a quote from a lecture he gave in Seattle, October the 21st, 1968. So my god brother, his name is Keshava Bhakti Pragyan Keshava, did this favour for me because he was an ocean of mercy, Kripam Buddhi. So he's talking about Bhakti Brigade Keshava Maharaj, who's sitting down here. Kripam Buddhi, we offer our obeisances to Vaishnavas, Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha. The Vaishnavas, the representatives of the Lord, are so kind. They bring the ocean of mercy for distributing to the suffering humanity. Kripam Buddha yastam aham prapadye. So I am offering my respectful obeisances unto His Holiness because he forcefully made me adopt this sannyas order. It's another quote from a lecture from New York, November the 23rd, 1966. I have got my personal experience. I never tried, never accepted that I should become a sannyasi, and I tried my best to keep myself in this material world. And he has several times. He has frustrated me. He's talking about Krishna, and has brought me by force to this life. And now I am happy. I can understand how much favour Krishna has showed me. Yes, I did not understand in the beginning. So sometimes if Krishna takes special care of you, he'll do in such a way that you will have no other way than to go back. He'll take charge. Take charge. If we sincerely want Krishna, if he sees that, quote, here is a person, he wants me, but he's a foolish. He wants me. At the same time, he wants to enjoy the material world. So crush this, his material propensities, and let him become simply devoted. Yes, sometimes we see like that. So Prabhupada speaking from personal experience. We'll read one last quote. This is from a lecture in Montreal, July 26, 1968. So anyway, I was officially initiated in 1933, just before 3 years of his passing away from this mortal world. So at the last moment also, just a fortnight before his passing away, he's talking about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he wrote to me the same thing. I wrote him one letter and he replied the same thing, that, quote, you should try to preach this gospel amongst the persons who are conversant in English language. That will be very nice for you. So I was dreaming sometimes that my Guru Maharaj is calling me and I'm leaving my home and going behind him. I was dreaming like that and I was thinking, oh, I have to give up my home. My Guru Maharaj wants me to give up my home life and take sannyas. So I was thinking, it is horrible, how can I leave my home? This is called Maya. Of course, it's a long story, but incidentally, I'm speaking to you because you are my dear children. So I was thinking that how can I take sannyas and leave my home, my children? So that was a horrible thought for me. I tell you, I was thinking seriously, oh, I will have to take this course. Guru Maharaj wants me. But actually, I did not like to give up my home life. But Guru Maharaj made me obliged to give up my home life. So now by his order, or by his plan, I gave up my home life. I gave up a few children. But Guru Maharaj is so kind that he's given me so many nice children. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody have anything they want to add at all? Otherwise, prasadam time. So thank you for listening. Jai, Shri Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai, Shri Vishwarup Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi.